Last night I was driving home from my cousin's cabin when my car broke down on an old forest road, the kind that isn't even on most maps anymore. It was almost midnight, snow falling thick and silent, and my phone had zero signal. I remember sitting there for a long moment, engine dead, heater dying with it, telling myself I just had to walk to the nearest town, maybe 2 miles through the trees if I cut through instead of following the winding road. I want to say I hesitated. I didn't, not really. The cold was already biting through my jacket, and staying in a dead car in the middle of nowhere felt worse than moving. So I got out, zipped up, and started walking into the tree line. The forest at night is a different world. Every sound is swallowed the second it leaves your mouth. My boots crunched against the snow in a rhythm that felt too loud, like I was announcing myself to something. The trees here were old, thick, black trunks leaning in at odd angles, branches heavy with snow that occasionally dropped in soft, sudden thuds that made my heart jump every time. About 10 minutes in, I noticed the quiet had changed. It's hard to explain unless you felt it yourself, but there's a difference between an empty quiet and a quiet that's watching you. The wind had stopped. The snowfall had softened. And underneath it all was this pressure, like the forest itself was holding its breath. That's when I saw them. 2 points of dull red light low to the ground, maybe 80 yards ahead between the trees. Not moving, just there. My first thought was deer eyes catch light like that sometimes. But I had no flashlight pointed that way. No light source at all except the pale gray of the moon through the clouds. Whatever those eyes were reflecting, it wasn't coming from me. I stopped walking. I remember my breath fogging out in front of me in short, sharp bursts. I told myself to stay calm, to back away slowly, the way you're supposed to with wildlife. So I did. 1 step back, then another. And the eyes moved with me, not toward me, not away, just tracking, the way a predator watches something it hasn't decided to chase yet. I turned and walked faster, cutting at an angle away from where I'd seen them, back toward what I hoped was still the direction of the road. The snow was deeper here, dragging at my legs, and every few seconds I glanced over my shoulder. Nothing. No eyes. But the silence hadn't lifted. If anything, it had gotten heavier, pressing against my ears until I could hear my own pulse. Then I heard it behind me, not footsteps exactly, more like something large shifting its weight through snow, unhurried, deliberate, like it wanted me to hear it. I didn't turn around this time. I just ran. Branches tore at my sleeves. My boots kept catching on roots buried under the snow, and twice I nearly went down. I don't know how long I ran. Time stops meaning anything when you're that afraid. At some point I broke through the tree line into a clearing, and there, maybe 30 yards off, was an old house, dark, sagging, windows like empty sockets, but a house, shelter, something. I didn't think. I just ran for the door. It was unlocked. I don't know if that should have scared me more than it relieved me, but in that moment I didn't care. I slammed it shut behind me, threw the old bolt, and pressed my back against the wood, chest heaving, listening. For a long time, nothing. Just my own ragged breathing and the tick of a house settling in the cold. I let myself believe, for a few minutes, that I'd made it. That whatever had been behind me had given up at the tree line. Then I heard it scratching at the door. Slow, almost gentle, like it wasn't trying to break in, like it was testing whether I'd open it myself. I backed away into the dark of the house, and that's when I noticed the smell. Wrong, somehow. Old and cold, like the house hadn't held a living breath in years. I fumbled for my phone, and even with no signal, the flashlight still worked. I swept it across the room. The walls were covered in scratches. Not random, rows of them, deliberate, like something had been counting. Counting nights, maybe, counting something else. The scratching at the door stopped. The silence that followed was worse than the sound had been. I stood frozen in the dark, phone light trembling in my hand, waiting for it to try the door again. It didn't. Instead, I heard it at the window behind me. I spun around, and for 1/2 second, in the beam of my flashlight, I saw them again. The same dull red eyes, this time pressed close to the glass, at a height no deer, no wolf, nothing I could name should have been able to reach. They didn't blink. They just watched me, patient, like they had all the time in the world. The glass didn't break. It didn't need to. I understood, standing there, that it wasn't trying to get in anymore. It was showing me that it could have any time it wanted, and it hadn't. That it was choosing to let me stay a little longer. I don't remember much of the rest of that night, just sitting in a corner of that house, back against the wall, watching the window until the first gray light of dawn finally came through the clouds. When the sun rose, the eyes were gone. The scratching didn't come back. I walked out of those woods that morning and found the road again within 20 minutes. A tow truck came for my car later that day. I never went back for anything I'd left behind in that house, not my phone case, not my nerve. To this day, I don't know what was in that forest or why it let me go. But some nights when it snows, I swear I can still feel it watching, waiting, patient, like it's just deciding when to come find me again. If you ever find yourself stranded on a snowy road at midnight, stay in the car. Whatever you do, stay in the car.